it looks like we made it through another start to finish process. I want to kind of apologize because of the way that my camera angle is set directly overhead. I'm pretty sure some of the fast forward, some of the process might have been a little bit hard to see, but that's why I come in at the end and kind of explain to you the process a little bit, go over some of the product I used. You know, so if you want to go shopping at Reneabouquets.com or Reneabouquets Etsy shop, you'll kind of know what I used. What I wanted to do when I thought of this project, there was a couple of things in mind. Number one, a couple of years ago, I had saw a design team project for Ingvild Bohm design team. She used to be part of the Prima marketing company, and she's created a lot of stuff that I of course still use, some of the resin pieces, Shabby Chic treasures and things like that, metal pieces. They had done this sort of really cool steampunk project using a light bulb. And so I really wanted to feature like a light bulb on my project. I just thought it was the coolest thing. And I knew that when Renee came out with quite a few of the steampunk style pieces that I wanted to feature those as well. Some of the new releases like the gears and some of the butterfly pieces and things like that. I knew that would go really well with kind of the concept of using a light bulb. And I really wanted to feature this beautiful printed board piece here. She is just gorgeous. Her name is Tessie B. Darling. I simply love her. I love her purples and her greens. I love her wings that are butterfly wings. I think she is just gorgeous. She comes with a couple of sizes of printed butterflies. You can also order an extra set, the set of 4 butterflies if you wish, and they're called Tessie's butterflies if you want a few more butterflies than what comes with her. And I just thought she would look really neat using some of the steampunk collection, as well as I am not all out steampunk. You all know I love to do shabby chic. That's kind of more my style. So I mixed in, of course, shabby chic with some steampunk features, I guess. I wouldn't exactly call this steampunk, but it has steampunk elements in it. The piece that I started out with was a piece similar to this that I got at Dollar Tree. My little piece on top here wasn't metal, it was a wood piece. You saw me really easily, these are just little upholstery pins. I was really easily popped that out, and then this came off, really simple, the little wood piece. It was not hard at all, so it was really easy to take that apart and then be able to use some papers from Blue Fern Studios Remnant collection, 12 by 12, that Renee carries in her shop. Another Blue Fern Studios that I used paper collection was called Timeless. It's an old release. Hard to find anymore, but I use some of those as well. But Renee does carry a lot of different Blue Fern Studio releases in her shop. If you know, click on the subtitle, the subheading of Blue Fern Studios, you'll find all the different collections that she carries. But Remnants was one that I used here. And so I started out using Prima Heavy Black Gesso, covering my piece, and then adding my papers. I distressed the edges and I sewn all around the perimeter of each piece. And then before I glued the bottom piece down, since I was doing a little bit of steampunk, I have had these like little pulley wheels in my collection forever, probably 4 or 5 years, by Tim Holtz. I thought, how stinking cute would that be to add this to the bottom of my piece so that it does, of course, roll. I thought that would be really fun. I wanted to, though, give you a little bit of a suggestion when you go to glue metal pieces to maybe wood. Okay? And especially if you glue them to paper. I have done it before and I have learned from my mistake. I have many a time taken like metal handles or something like that and just glued it directly on top of my paper. And then I have many a time, you know, the piece maybe knocked over, something like that, and the handle came loose. Well, the handle was still securely glued, you know, with E6000 to the paper, but the paper had ripped. And it's kind of a pain. So what I did before I glued this paper down is you saw me use a tiny little hole punch. I punched 4 holes where I knew that I was going to glue these little metal pulley wheels. Okay, so once I punched the 4 holes, glued the paper down, and then I glued my metal directly to the wood in the punched out areas, so that I know that is not coming off. So if you're ever going to kind of glue metal to wood, using like E6000, and you want to put it like on top of paper like I did, wherever that metal is going to touch, I would suggest that you kind of cut out the area that you're going to glue so that your metal glues directly onto the wood and not onto the paper, so that it doesn't rip off. Okay, so it's just a little suggestion I wanted to kind of bring about to you. All right. So this piece is actually only about 4.5 by 4.5 size, so it's quite small. And I started with, once I got all my paper and everything glued down, and I'm going to kind of turn this, actually, take that back. We're just going to take a peek at this first. Okay? Maybe I'll show you that first. Isn't she just gorgeous? Okay? Because I know it was probably very hard to see during the process of making it, but hopefully you got a good enough view, and by my explaining it at the end, it'll even become a little more clear. Okay, so just a tiny little area to work on. It was a quick project, it was fun, and I kind of loved how it came out. So what I started with was in the very back here. You can see how I kind of wrapped it around. I had the back edge here. This is a beautiful board product from Renee's shop, and it's called the Gothic Gate, and this is in the size small. I'm going to turn it to the back. It comes in 2 pieces. This piece here is all 1 unit. It's all hinged, and then you get this separate little piece here. Okay, the large size gate actually also comes with a metal hinged lock that I think is really pretty. Kind of brings it all together, and that large gate is huge. I should have got that out for you, but it is a really huge piece. This, like I said, is the small piece. Okay, before I glued that on, let's rewind for a moment. I wanted to add some elements to it. So what I did is I started out with a small resin frame, a round resin frame I got from Michael's, from like the $1.50 bin. And then on top of that, I had glued a little Tim Holtz metal clock. And then on top of the metal clock, I glued these Shabby Chic Treasure resin wings by Ingvild Bohm, old release. I wish they would come back with those. And then on top of the wings, I glued these beautiful board clock hands from Renee's shop. These are in the large size. These are the decorative clock hands. So one kind of pokes out there and one pokes out here. And then on top of that piece, this is another Shabby Chic Treasures metal piece. And it says the number 52 on it, and I'll come back to that. There's a reason I chose the number 52. Okay, and then on that gate, I kind of did it at the end, but we're here, so we'll talk about it. This is another Reneabouquets piece. This is a Tiny Treasures butterfly, and this is in the Sweet Pea collection, and this is in white. This is one of the older pieces that I had in my stash. The newer Sweet Pea in white has a little pearl detail down the center of the body, but mine does not because it's an older release. But the newer release comes with the pearl details down the middle, which are just so sweet. And then over on this side, this is just a little chipboard piece from my stash. I think this came out of a Tim Holtz ephemera piece. And I just thought it was neat because it said storage label on it. I just thought it kind of added to just kind of the eclectic look of the whole piece. I added a ton of flowers all around the center of this big light bulb. Loving this light bulb. I found it at our Habitat resale store because I loved it. It was big and round, and then it actually had like a little LED light in the center of it. I just thought that was so cool looking, so I kind of wanted that to be front and center. I found another one that was kind of a purple hue, which I loved and would have totally went in with her. It looked good, but then when I got it in the light, the purple hue looked blue, and I didn't want to create with that because then I thought you guys would be like, why is she using a blue light bulb with purple? Because it didn't work. But out of the light, it looked purple, looked cool. But so I went with the clear instead, and I just thought that looked really cool. I just love that LED in the center of it. It's so cool. So anyway, back to all these mulberry flowers. All came from Reneabouquets' shop. Well, all but the white ones, I believe. They were Recollections flowers from my stash. But all the purple ones and the green ones, there's all sort of different shades of purple in here. I've got a couple shades of purple and the greens in here. There are purple and white roses and leaves, a set of 13. There's a beautiful, like these ones here, I think it's a purple and white. There's these beautiful, like, dusty purple ones. They're also a set of 13 roses and leaves. And then these beautiful green ones are like a spring green is what they're called. Spring green and ivory. Again, a set of 13 of those. And I went with the purples and greens, of course, because Tessie has this beautiful purple and greens in her wings and in her dress. So those were all kind of my flowers in the center there. And in amongst the flowers, I tucked in some things like some Prima metal heart gears. Those came from my stash. Some other Prima metal pieces here. Oh, you can see that, can't you? Here, gear, another Prima kind of gear tucked in here. This side, this is just a, I think it's 7 gypsies I got from Joann's, these little swirly things that I kind of tucked in there. I also tucked in right here, this is from Tim Holtz. It's just a little wooden number 7. What are these things called? I forgot. Letterpress. They're these things from Tim Holtz, the letterpress. So I used the number 7 in there. And so let's take that number 7. Okay, and then I have the number 52. And we'll come back to that. Okay. Also, I tucked in here this beautiful board piece here, this quilling flourish. I'll turn it to the back and you can see it. You guys know I love to use those from time to time. So I've got that tucked in here. This is a set of 4, and these are the small size, the quilling flourishes. I've also got tucked down, way down underneath. Right on the bottom, you can barely see it poking out there. These are one of the steampunk style gears. I wanted to show you. I featured 3 different gears on this project. This one on the bottom looks like this. It's a very large gear. This is called the Wildflower gear. They all come in a set of 4. So, but the one I used on the bottom was this size. Look how huge that is. So in your set of 4, you'll get like an extra large piece, a large piece, you'll get a medium piece, and then you'll get a smaller piece, okay? So I used this on the bottom called the Wildflower gear. I used this on one of the wheels, and this is the ornament gear. These are my favorite ones. I love this kind of like ornament in the center. Okay, the ornament gears. And then these beautiful gears is called the rose lace gears. Okay, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. So some beautiful steampunk style gears. There's also a couple more designs in the shop as well. I'm just showing you 3 of the designs. I believe there's 2 more. So you might want to take a look at those. So as we near to the front and we kind of near to Tessie, here is one of those little rose lace gears right here. I used a Prima resin frame here. You saw me kind of sand the bottom of it. The frame has kind of a pointed tip and I needed it to lay flat on my project. So I just took some sandpaper and I sanded off the bottom so that it would lay flat on the bottom. But of course, before I glued that down onto this piece, I glued one of those rose lace gears to the back, and then I used a Prima metal gear right here on there. I used another Prima metal gear here and then a Prima metal clock face. So I kind of glued that bunch together and then I glued it down onto the project. And then on top of that is where I placed Tessie. You saw me take a butterfly and cut that in half, which was kind of very hard for me to do, but I wanted to give Tessie some kind of steampunk style wings that I thought was just really beautiful with her wings. And these are what I used. These are the steampunk style butterflies. I just think they're so pretty. They're called the Majestic Butterflies, and you get a set of 3. And if you'll notice, they have little bead holes on them. Okay? That is so if you wanted, Renee has in her shop quite a few different sets of colors of beautiful beads, and they're like variegated beads. Okay, these are kind of like a really pretty aqua and pink and purple. And then I've got this set that's just beautiful. It's almost like a kind of a copper mix with a like a pink and a cream. And you take these beads, and let me grab one out and just kind of show you. I'll grab a couple of them here. I'll grab the 3 different sizes. I just think this is such a cool concept. I love the way Renee didn't just create a butterfly, you know. I just love that she created it so that you could use these cool beads. So let's go down the center of the butterfly here. I've got 3 different size beads. Okay, and then you can place the beads down the centers, like the center, or right in there, the center of the butterfly. Just doing that, isn't that pretty? And then you can place beads all in these other holes, and you can have this whole cool beaded steampunk butterfly and make it really 3D. I think that is so cool, such an awesome idea. Of course, as you noticed, I did not use the beads this time around. Still have a butterfly left. But I could have left it whole, but I kind of wanted the wings to come out a little bit more, so I cut it in half so that I could bring them out just a little bit more in line with her wings. And so I did that on the back of Tessie there. And then on the front of her, I placed this little lock that I had in my collection, a purple mulberry flower here on that. Okay. Where do I want to go? On the front of her, let's stay with where I'm going. This is a plastic word. It says believe, of course. These are from Heidi Swapp. These are those words that go like in her light boxes. They were on clearance. I had a box of these words. They were on clearance, a bunch of different words that said like charity and faith and believe and love. So I used the believe and put it on there, and then used one of Tessie's butterflies and I placed it there on the believe. Right on the front here of that box, I used the resin ampersand symbol. And then I used a couple of Tim Holtz chipboard words, quotes. This says shine brightly, and this says hope is never lost. And then down on the bottom of the wheels, you know, I discussed using some of the steampunk gears from Renee's shop. Again, this is the ornament gear. This is the wildflower gear. And on front of this wildflower gear, I used one of the tiny, tiny, beautiful bits hearts. These are called Shabby hearts, and I placed it in the center of that little gear. Okay, so I had this gear, and I placed a little heart right in the center there. And then on the center of this gear, I placed a little bead landing gear and then a metal number 8, and I placed it sideways to kind of represent infinity. Okay, so let's get back to the 52 and the 7. We've got the light bulb the quote that says shine brightly. Okay, so I have the light bulb. Shine brightly kind of matches the light bulb, you know, light bulb shine. So light bulb, shine brightly, believe, and hope is never lost. Okay, so that's my title, and that's how I kind of tied it into the light bulb. And you want to do this 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. Okay, so that's how I tied all those numbers and everything in. All right, I thought that was kind of a neat concept because I wanted it to be inspirational, but kind of tie into why is there a light bulb on my project? You know, I just didn't want to just stick a light bulb on my project. I wanted it to kind of tie in with the title. And then off camera, I used kind of Prima's 3D matte gel, and I added a bunch of Reneabouquets glitter glass here in the lavender shade. I just painted it, the matte gel on with the paintbrush, and I poured the glitter glass onto all these areas like the flowers. Okay, poured some over here. You can see it. Really beautiful quality glitter glass. This is the lavender, like I said. A beautiful, beautiful light shade of purple, light shade of lavender. Okay. So there it is. That is my project. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like kind of the steampunk essence to my shabby chic. Shine brightly, believe, and hope is never lost. I will have all the links down below to everything Reneabouquets, as well as a link to my blog and Pinterest. If you'd like to follow me there, I will have close-up photos of this project on my blog, as well as the Reneabouquets blog. I just noticed, because I forgot to point out, I put a little bit of glitter glass on the wings here just to kind of make her kind of pop out and look a little bit more heavenly, I guess. Okay? Anyway, and then on those blog posts, I will have the links to all the Reneabouquets products I used in this project. Okay? I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the start to finish. Come like Reneabouquets on Facebook because there are monthly challenges. There are monthly swaps. Please comment down below. Give my video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Love to have you along for the journey. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.